welcome back to CNC Resto Factory. Cole is sick, so I'm on my own today. I'm gonna take these videos, he's gonna edit them. That's his magic. I'm gonna show you what we got today, what we're gonna do, and the products we're gonna use. So on the door that I showed you in the back, we found a little rust spot, a bubble in the paint. We sanded that out with 80 right to the metal. Then we went back in with 120 and 240 just to see those layers like I was mentioning in the one video. The sealer, the primer, the clear. You want those layers to gradually smooth out and so that you can phase everything back in once we fill it. Okay, so I got my 400 on my DA. What I'm gonna do is, you can see these layers. There's several layers of primer and paint, sealer. We want to get these so that they're maybe ½ inch each, so you can see about ½ inch of each layer, and so it's nice and smooth. It's not like right now I can feel a lump. So we're going to try to smooth that out, and Cole is going to video this and enjoy the background music while I do this. Okay, so what I found here is we got a little, I don't know, a little nub here. Could be rust. Cole will show you here. Not really sure what it is. It could be just a defect in the paint. But I've got, in my hand here, I've got a piece of 80 grit. And I'm just gonna sand that out till it's gone. And then I'm gonna take, I've got some 240 here. I'm gonna keep going with the 80. And we'll take this thing right down and see what it actually is. We're at this stage already. Let's get rid of it altogether. Okay, so I'll just get my trusty vacuum and so here, if you can see, I've gotten rid of it, and here you can see the layers of the paint that I've gone through and the clear, and I know you can't tell, but it's actually pretty smooth. I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do with this is get it to this stage. So in my hand, I've got 240 here after the 80, and I'm going to basically just do the same thing, and I'm going to try to get that same effect on this in a few different ways, a few different patterns that I'm going to sand it out in. And then I'll decide whether I want to actually fill it, or do I think that just some high build primer when I go over it will work. So here's what we're left with. So I can feel that dent in there. So what I'll do is I'll actually just take a little bit of filler and I'll fill this in. I'll sand it till this is nice and smooth to the touch. And then we'll go ahead and high build primer this door. So here I have 80 is what I'm gonna go with just to knock this down and get that film off. It's a nice clean paper, brand new. I'm just gonna go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. You can see there's a gloss on this. It's a light green. But as I sand it, and I'm not pushing hard at all, guys. You don't want to do that. Okay, as far as this grit, I'm done with it. Maybe just clean up the edge here just a hair. There we go. Yeah, so I'm done with this now. It didn't ball up on here very bad, so I'm happy with that. So here I have 180 on my DuraBlock. When you got dust like this, instead of blowing it off with air, making a mess, just grab your vacuum. This way you're not mashing anything into it. At least you're pulling any holes or anything. You can see, I can see here. Anyway, you can see little holes in there that you want to suck that dust out of instead of keeping it in there. And it's much cleaner. Anyway, I'm going to take my 180. I'm already starting to see the layers through here. So I'm going to focus more up here on the area that I'm repairing. We're just going to try to get these deep scratch marks out of there now, right? We don't want to, we're not into taking too much off. We just want what we need off. So now that's it. That's all I'm going to do with the 180. Again, I'm going to take my vacuum. All right, here we go. So you can see how thin this is. You can see the filler that we've taken off. And you can see this right here is the repair area. And I want to knock that down until I start seeing probably this portion of it start showing up. Then I know that's it, I'm done. That's kind of like seeing the metal, because we've just filled in the little hole that we did have in here that we took that rust out of. And eventually I'll get this all fixed up, and then I'll deal with this. I'll get rid of this after we work on this. Okay, here we are back. This is now 240 on here. I'll just move you a little closer. So I'm gonna now go over the 180 with the 240, and we're just gonna take out the rest of these little scratches and take off some of this filler that's on there still until we get to where we want to be. And I'm not pushing hard, guys, just very light, and I'm going back and forth, which is what you're supposed to do. So this is actually already starting to look pretty good. I'm going to stop there on this part. I'm going to just work a little bit over here just to get some of this stuff off. Like I said, we'll do. This is again with 240. I think I'm pretty happy with that. So now I'm going to go to 320 and we'll finish this off. And even with this 240, I might even just leave it there, to be honest with you, and run over it with the DA on with the 400. You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw 320 on here just to pull some of these scratches out, and I'll show you why I'm toiling with this. Okay, so here's what I'm looking at. You can see my sand marks. That is the same as this. So that's what you're seeing here. And this is my repair area. And it's actually smooth. So I have 320 on here. All I'm gonna do is just try to take those scratches out. And I really am not putting any pressure on this. I don't want to take any more off than I really need to. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just trying to get those scratches out. And I don't know, I think I'm, at this point, I think I'm done. That's it. I'm not doing no more. Just a little bit on the edge, which is not the repair. And then you can see the Bondo here. I got to get that off, which no big deal. I'll take it off with probably my 240, and I'll go and take it off, and then I'll run over it with 320 and eventually 400. So that's done. You can see this is extremely thin because we're going from this to this. You can see the sanding marks where I feathered it out, much like this. Found my layers. I'm happy with that. We're done. We're gonna move on to the next stage. Okay, so here's where we ended off. As you can see my layers. You can see, here's my layers in there. Hopefully you can see that. You got it, that ring is right here. And when I go ahead and do this, I'm going to fill this with a sealer, and like you can't feel anything here. You cannot feel the repair. It's just as smooth as this. So I'm happy with this. Let me know what you think. Did I do it right? Would you have done it differently? Okay, I've got 400 on the DA. Give it a nice wipe, make sure it's clean. I've wiped this all down. I'm just gonna give it a quick once over with 400 as we're already at 320 for the repair. I have scratched this with 400 already. I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm just knocking it down with the 400 to get the 320 scratches out of it. And we'll go from there. That's it. Take my vacuum. I'll grab my rag. It's nice white, and I'll show you where we're at. Water. I want to get this panel scratched down all in 400, ready to go. But before I do that, I got to go over this and make sure that there aren't that there's no garbage in here. I'm going to do the same on here. I can feel a few little things here. So I'm going to just wash this all down, get it to where I want it. And if I need to sand a little bit out here and there, I'll do that. So here we go, and I've already washed this, I don't know, probably 3 times already throughout the course of just the fixing this door period. But better safe than sorry, so here we go. You don't want your bare metal and your oils from your hands that will create rust and adhesion issues. So I'll clean that up, trust me. So from this point, now I'm going to go ahead and start sanding with my DA and 400 on that DA. All right, 400 on the DA. We just want to get this knocked down to give it some tooth for primers, paints, stuff like that. I have already done it to the truck as I showed you in the first video. So as you see, it's nice and shiny now. We're gonna get it scratched down to where it needs to be. And I want to do this. I want to keep this flat. I'm not going to put any pressure on it. I'm going to let this do the work. You're not smashing this in. You're not taking a bunch of stuff off. You just want to rough it up, get some tooth for your sealers, primers, whatever you plan on doing. So that's what I'm going to do. And the parts that I can't get to with a DA, I'm going to come in with a Scotch-Brite, a maroon Scotch-Brite pad. I got one here actually. This one's a little dirty, but this is what I'm going to use for the hard to reach areas. And you want to make sure you want to get everything, because you don't want adhesion issues anywhere. So here we go. We'll have a walk around and I'll show you what we got. So, as you can see, it's not shiny anymore. So in here, as you see, this is the areas that I'm talking about. You're gonna go in with your scratch cloth, and you're just gonna go ahead and just rough it up, just like you did with your DA. Doing the same job, just getting into the areas. It's obviously more labor, but this is what you're doing. Anyway, I'll do all of this. The inside here, and I'll look through here, I'll clean this up, and I'll look for any holidays that that I maybe didn't get. All in here I'll have to get. You'll never see this stuff, but again, all in this groove here we didn't get. So we'll go through, we'll get it all done. One other thing I was going to mention was with the when I was going around with that DA, I thought about it, was on this truck there is just the slightest lip. But whenever you're sanding on an edge, you don't want to spend too much time with a DA or anything aggressive. You'll burn through those edges quick and you'll be mad at yourself. Trust me, I've done it. So without further ado, I'm going to put you back in and we're going to finish this up with the Scotch-Brite pad. All right, here's what I come up with. Got her all scratched down, the DA. See, it's all scratched in there with the Scotch-Brite pad in here. Not gonna lie, that part of the job really sucks. But then you kind of go over it with a fine-tooth comb, make sure you got everything. But on the edges, that's where I really use this stuff, is not as aggressive as a DA. This is what we got now. This door is pretty much ready. I gotta flip it over and do the same thing to the underside. Sand it down, get it exactly like this. Much of the same as what you just saw. Hopefully, the next time you see us, we will be spraying some high build primer and getting this stuff ready. As well as that, I'll show you how I tape off the truck. I'm gonna pull the doors off, get everything ready. So that will be next. Will be, I guess, finishing these, getting the doors all off and taping it and prepping for spraying some high build. I'll show you what I use for the high build, how I mix it, how I spray it. Not much to it. There's a bunch of videos out there obviously that do it, but this is the way I'll be doing it. So we'll see you then.